Crimsix was not necessarily accusing, but also just kind of bringing up on stream, bringing to light the fact that Huntsmen actually did break a gentleman's agreement during CDL London. Luckily enough, I think the response was actually a pretty good one, which we will talk about in a second. But to Crimsix's side about this, he didn't take it too seriously. He also did mention, I think people overlooked this part, that he has no idea how this would have influenced the series, that being the gentleman's agreement to run no more than 2 stuns. Huntsmen were exposed for running 3 stuns alongside 1 smoke and 1 flash, as everyone else usually runs a typical 2-1-2, 2 stuns, 1 smoke, 2 flashes. Huntsmen was running an additional stun as well during that series against the Dallas Empire, as Crimsix made sure to point out. We now have Arcitys taking to Twitter, though, luckily with a response. Not only are the Huntsmen one of the few teams out there, if any team, who could probably get away with breaking a gentleman's agreement, I will say of all the responses they could have had, this is probably the one that makes the most sense and the only sense as to why they can get away with this, albeit, though, a lot of pro teams were, accordingly to Crimsix's words, upset by this. You know, if you guys remember, though, during CDL London, of course, the back half of the event, following closely after Empire did lose to Huntsmen in that grand final series, remember how fast everything was rushed? It was all kind of finalized with a very short scump interview, and apparently teams were then rushed out of the venue due to time constraints, because after 12 hours of Call of Duty, there was just no time for any other part of the broadcast, no time to actually close out the entire event. That makes a lot of sense, as RC's response kind of coincides with this, as apparently the team had to do quite a bit all before that final series and had no time to actually choose their classes, as according to him, they had to do a lot of things, which included not only having to switch sides to the main stage, also switch their team jerseys, then do map vetoes for the upcoming series, but also change new classes yet again because they hadn't played on that side of the stage yet. All of this, of course, coming down to the breakdown of the team maybe not kind of coercing or telling each other who was going to run flash, stun, and smoke, and not doing the standard 2-2-1, but instead doing 3 stuns instead of 2. Now, Crimsix does say he didn't take it too seriously, right? It was a simple stream story bringing to light that it could have impacted the series, which, you know, I think we can all agree it certainly would have had an impact on the series. Would it have changed that series? Even Crimsix says likely not. Arcitys did respond a bit further back and forth. I think of all of this, it's still a great topic to bring to light, and no one is really hating on the Huntsmen. I'm still going to stick to my gut, though. I don't think many other teams could get away with this, even if they had a good excuse like Huntsmen did. That's a pretty fair excuse, right? All of these time constraints. Crimsix even replied himself with their own time constraint issues of warm-up before that final series. They too were very much rushed before that final series, as we can imagine, trying to fit hype battles in, the broadcast times, all the commercials, every single series. It was quite obvious the time restraints during the event were very serious. So of all of this, the GA being broken is not going to end up being too big of an issue. It does bring to light, I would say, the more important of the issues. Hopefully going to be, you know, a few less of these time restraints, or at least improved on all these timings for these upcoming pro players and teams to not have these same issues, right? You should never be rushed out of warm-up into a series which is happening at a time you were not told it was going to be happening at. Alongside the other issues, you should not be able to actually have loadouts, which are apparently not allowed. You know, we look back towards week number 1 with the LA Guerrillas, but hopefully those issues will be fixed in the future as well. And teams should have the time to actually abide by gentlemen's agreements and not being rushed into their own personal loadouts as well, which would have avoided the Huntsman issue in the first place. Hopefully going forward with the brand new reductions in times for both domination and S&D, these issues will be fixed a bit better. The Huntsmen have now revealed their excuse. I don't even want to call it an excuse. Their answer as to why they broke the gentleman's agreement on accident. Pro teams are still upset by this. I would say rightfully so. The issue will not be an issue ongoing, and hopefully will not persist for any other future teams, because I can guarantee you one thing. If any other team out there breaks a GA from now on, it's going to be a riot. Until next time, hope you guys all enjoy. We slowly approach just days away from the Atlanta homestand. And again, as per usual, super excited to see what happens. Until next time, take care, drink your coffee. I'll be back here all day long breaking down esports and gaming news. Until then, take care, homies.